다더니 가서 동샤 어디 다른 비지 타마레스로와 타마레 어디 아부종종 말해.
So it's very good. Perhaps today, this is the last day of the teaching on the 35 Buddhas of confession, or the confession of moral downfalls.
다그 가시고 다데 디바샤비 더 초도 상지가 송자바지레스 말해.
So this is an explanation that the Lord Buddha pronounced or gave on how one can acknowledge his or her misdeeds. So at the root of this is Buddha Shakyamuni, and it's because of Buddha Shakyamuni's kindness that we can hear this or have this teaching. And also because of the kindness of the great Indian scholars. And also the kindness of the Tibetan translators. So then that leads to the author of this text, who is Sanjay Yeshe, or Buddha wisdom, and perhaps this is one of the This is the Pension Lama, but it's not certain. We're have some doubt. It's not certain if it is or not. But it's definitely his scholar. This author is a scholar.
어제 다든에 동화샤비 된다데 어느 공기 안에 가서 그래. 네부터 아직 토네. 네 동샤기 된다든 제는 정도 말해.
So when we speak of the meaning of the text, the confession of downfalls or acknowledgement of downfalls, there is a large emphasis, or the four opponent powers are of major importance, or key element.
어제 다든에 네부터 아직 땡지 담부 땡지 또 담부 용도 왔어. 남은 상주선비 동화샤바 다 민디시제와 뒤다도 라마라 저수초 상제라 저수초 줄라 저수초 근들라 저수초 셰베 아니 땡지도 땡고르스 아니 정도도 생지 공부하셔야 돼 내레도스.
So in the division of the four opponent powers, in this explanation and in this text, we find the power of basis, or the power of foundation, to be represented in the first few lines, where it says, homage to the confession of Bodhisattva's downfalls. I, Jeff, throughout all times, take refuge in the Guru. I take refuge in the Buddha. I take refuge in the Dharma. I take refuge in the Sangha. So this section is the power of basis. And the power of basis, or power of foundation, is refuge, and the mind that aspires to enlightenment, or bodhicitta.
다니바도 네부 군두슈 또 땡고르스 네부 군두슈 또데 조된데 디신셔바 다좀마 야다바 주부 상지베자와 샤자토발라 샤셀로시바네 상지 손주성아 상지 손주성아소 안에 소주 뒤송지 디신셔바 타제라 샤세와 어데 네부 군두슈 또 땡사레스.
So the next section deals with the section on the power of applying remedies, or the power of antidote. And that begins with the line that says, to the founder, Bhagavan, or to the teacher, the transcendent victor, the one thus gone, the foe destroyer, the perfectly completed Buddha, glorious conqueror, Shakyamuni Buddha, I prostrate. And the other names of the 35 Buddhas that follow it fall into the category of the power of applying remedies, or power of antidote. So all of the homage or prostrations made to the ones thus gone are all of the homage paid to the ones thus gone fall into the category of the power of applying remedies, or power of antidote. So now let's read this one time together, these sections one time together.
Yeah.
The Buik NGK.
English, Tibetan.
Okay, so we're going to do the Tibetan transliteration And we'll do the 2 sections that we just spoke of. And for anyone who's new, that's ending on where it says in the English, to Tathagata Arhat, perfectly completed Buddha, King of the Lord of Mountains, firmly seated on jewel and lotus I prostrate. To the left of that, you'll find the Tibetan transliteration, and that's where we end, beginning with Namo Shanchu Sembi. Okay. Namo Shanchu Sembi Tongwa Shabadan Ye Shi Wa Tu Ta Tu La Ma La Jasu Chi O San Ye La Jasu Chi O Chu La Jasu Chi O Gedu La Jasu Chi O Domba Jom Den De Te Shin Sheba Da Jom Ba Yanda Pa Zope Sanye Beje Wa Sha Cha Tu Ba La Sha Tse Lo De Shin Sheba Do Je Ni Bu Rab Tu Jom Ba La Sha Tse Lo De Shin Sheba Rin Chin Bu Tu La Sha Tse Lo De Shin Sheba Lu An Di Jia Bo La Sha Tse Lo De Shin Sheba Ba Wu De La Sha Tse Lo De Shin Sheba Be Je La Sha Tse Lo De Shin Sheba Rin Chin Me La Sha Tse Lo De Shin Sheba Rin Chin Da U La Sha Tse Lo De Shin Sheba Tong Wa Dong Yu La Sha Tse Lo De Shin Sheba Rin Chin Da U La Sha Tse Lo De Shin Sheba Di Ma Me Pa La Sha Tse Lo De Shin Sheba Be Jin La Sha Tse Lo De Shin Sheba Tsamba La Sha Tse Lo De Shin Sheba Tsambe Jin La Sha Tse Lo De Shin Sheba Chula La Sha Tse Lo De Shin Sheba Chule La Sha Tse Lo De Shin Sheba Bezan La Sha Tse Lo De Shin Sheba Tsenden Pe La Sha Tse Lo De Shin Sheba Ziji Taye La Sha Tse Lo De Shin Sheba Upe La Sha Tse Lo De Shin Sheba Nyanyen Me Pe La Sha Tse Lo De Shin Sheba Seme Jibu La Sha Tse Lo De Shin Sheba Me To Pe La Sha Tse Lo De Shin Sheba Tsampe Uzi Nampa Rupe Nyompa Jempa La Sha Tse Lo De Shin Sheba Peme Uzi Nampa Rupe Nyompa Jempa La Sha Tse Lo De Shin Sheba Nope La Sha Tse Lo De Shin Sheba Jempe Pe La Sha Tse Lo De Shin Sheba Zenpe Shintu Yonda Ya Sha Tse Lo De Shin Sheba Wampu Togi Jetsen Ji Jebu La Sha Tse Lo De Shin Sheba Shintu Nampa Numpe Pe La Sha Tse Lo De Shin Sheba Yule Shintu Nampa Jewa La Sha Tse Lo De Shin Sheba Nampa Numpe Shepe Pe La Sha Tse Lo De Shin Sheba Gunne Nawa Kupe Pe La Sha Tse Lo De Shin Sheba Rin Chin Pe Me Nampa Numpa La Sha Tse Lo De Shin Sheba Da Jompa Yanda Pa Zope Sanye Rinpoche Nampe Mala Rab Tu Shu Pa Ri Wan Ji Jepo La Sha Tse Lo
Tadala Subi, Tadala Subi, Shuju, Jiden, Kanam, Jena, Dejin,
Does everybody have the next section of the Tibetan transliteration? It's on the next page. So we'll be Yanjir.
Tadala Soba, Shuju, Jiden, Kanam, Jena, Dejin, Shepa, Dajomba, Yantaba, Zobe, Sanje, Jomdende, Gangi, Judu, Jebe, Sanje, Jomdende, Deda, Tamche, Dala, Gonsuzo. Da gi jewa de dang jewa to me dama ma chi pa ne ko wa na ko we ki ne tam che du di pi le gi pa dan ju du se wa dan ru la je su ye ra won cho den ji ko ra gen du ji ko ra cho chu wi gen du ji ko tro pa dan tu chupa dwa la jesu ye ra won sama chi pa nge le chi pa dan chi tu se wa dan chi pa la jesu ye ra won mi ge wa chu le chi la yang da pa la wa la su pa dan chu tu se wa dan su pa la jesu ye ra won le chi pa gangi jine da sen jenye wa chi pe an du jine tu chi pan hi da ji yu tu chi pan yu da ju tu chi pan lo chi pan la tse rin po nan su je an ma mo nan san wa jo pan da wa lo pa zin pa jo am san je yun ye pa mi ji pa jo we le ji ji pa gang la pa da tan che san je jom den de ye je su jo pa chen du jo pa pa nu jo pa tse mya jo pa chen be zi pa de da gi chen mian kyu la cha so me cha po me be do zen je jan chu chin dong pa ji la so. What about the Rosabaris?
So we've gone over these sections already.
Teji to Shinsabaris, Naba Sunji, Never good Jivita, Never Hadu Vita, Son Chinsabaris, Marba, Marza, Naba Sunji.
Sunjibido. Tatare.
Never Hadu Vita, Son Chinsaro, Machapo Mabit in Rosaro. Hedges and Dumba Jelazos.
Sunjimba Gun.
Hedges and Judge Dumba Jelazos, Never Hadu Vita Mara.
So we've already gone over the three sections of the four opponent powers, or three of the four opponent powers. The first being the power of basis in that section, the power of applying remedies, or power of antidote, the next section, and then the next section being on the power of regret, or the power of eradication, or refuting the lifestyle. So these three of the four opponent powers have already been discussed.
Oje, that don't shall turn out the Debashaba, Hoa, and my duty ship of song and on there, Debashaba Chinsabris, Niabutoji Chinsabris, that Hoa can let them, dedication.
So of the sections of the text, we've already gone over the acknowledgement of the downfalls. Yanjir Suranam. Diba Shabbat Sar.
Disha Chane.
Sar.
Nebutoji Chane. Nebutoji, not Doji, when Diba Shabbat go out and Huachi wars, Huachi in the Pension waters, then Hua the leaders.
So we've gone over the section on confession of downfalls, or acknowledgement of misdeeds and downfalls. We've gone over the explanation of the four opponent powers. I left something out before. And so the next section is the dedication section. I left out the fourth of the four opponent powers, being the power of turning away from faults or power of commitment.
Oje ta hoa de la ane hui bombo suwa ta.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's Gongam Epachig. And so, since we've gone over these four opponents, as well as the acknowledgement of downfalls, it's necessary for us to do dedication. So the next section is on dedication of the virtue we've created. Sorry.
Tatane kazawa saja be goatu ngol hoaje na phenche boris hoaje bade hui yola de tenchen son go ne shege dos tenchen son hui bombo so was jije da hamadil dibaja bombo so was ndo so de na jin de khatula ya hui bombo so wa ne goa hoya goa de kande res goa ngo so goa ngo so was an kande jin hoaje ures son da son da ta kade de bare an saji jonen ngad ne jo thoma me ban ta di ba da sa ja be go ne hwa ji gi ane saji songa so be saji cho an ngal zero nas an ne hwa ji be pom na ru nas ne hwa ji gi cho ngal saul na ru ji ngal zero jis ya what hwa ji pom so ba din sa de.
So the next section, the section on dedication, so since beginningless, since we have accumulated many virtues, it's of great benefit to dedicate them. It's very beneficial to dedicate them. So here, this can be broken into three sections, as the prior section on regret was broken into three sections. So the first one is the witness, or the request to be heard. And the second is the explanation of what virtue is, or an explanation of the meaning of virtue. And the third is how to actually do a dedication, or how the dedication process works, or what a dedication is. So the first section on the request for witness, or a request to be heard, it means that to all the 35 Buddhas and all the ones thus gone, in all places in the world systems, the 10 directions, etc., please hear me and look upon me, or be a witness to this. So the statement is, since beginningless time, I have accumulated various virtuous deeds. I would like to dedicate them. So please pay attention to me. Please look upon and listen to me while I dedicate them. So this is the meaning of the first of the three sections, the request for witness, or a request to be heard.
What the bomb so the Sanji John Den de da Tanji Dala Gonso says that what the bomb so is inch tulti la and could dem.
So here in the text where it says, all Buddha Bhagavans, please pay attention to me. This is the request to be heard, or the request for witness. So this first line in this third paragraph down, you have a different printout, but it says all Buddha Bhagavans, comma, please pay attention to me. And then it says in this life and in all other states of rebirth in which I have circled in samsara throughout beginnings lives, whatever roots of virtue. So the reason I read that is it's the section where it's on virtue, in case anybody was lost.
Oje tanga so lada to duty to against bomb mar against ta duty abre do regum do tegro what the rabing samar be na dibasha gi and sanje chu na dibasha zero na tarujis.
It's similar to when a teacher is giving a test and is being witness to a test that's taking place. We're here requesting the Buddha Bhagavans to be a witness to our dedication, or be present as a witness to watch over us while we make our dedication.
Oje tatane moji gowa marba gowa ane moya ge gowa kar mo was tatane ma moji gza mo was de 다 다기 저원도 저와 도민 담아 마셔봐는 코아나 규제는 코아나 코 가사 다기 저와 너다 저와 도민 담아 마셔봐네스 다 소속에 천다다 아니 저와 도마 매봐네 아니 코아나 규제는 단지도 돈이 지내서 제발라스 나서 돈이 쳤다 심어줄라 아니 칼라 태지 되바인치 거와레스 아니 저와 도마만 다디바도 가서 심바만 당샤요 와레스 아니 가서 마데르마도 심바도 거만 보요와레 타나 돈이 지내서 제발라 세칸지 칼라지 되바 쳤다 심어인실레 칼라지 되바인치기 심바도 거와요 와레스 예 세칸지선 제이 기자 갈라바단스 아니 저와 도마만 다디바도 가서 마데르마도 안 상상 가서 근로제요와레 상상 근로 마제요와레 상상 근예제요와레 아니 상상레 상상의 동바도 하고 동바 몰래요레스 수티송 거 뭐요와레스 와데 또 뭐야 와도 송고기스 수티송 기자 갈라바단스 알 냐뇽뇽셰레
딕슨
기자 갈라바단스 다기 세제 요소 메바제비 기자 갈라바 안 다기 저 도마만 다디바도 세제 제다 메바제바 세제 제다레 지 최도야 샹바당 희제당 어떤데시네 그 생주데 메바제네 생주 장부주야 제다레 샹바공야 희제공하는 거 발라 소바 세제 메바제비 기자와 어두진지로 메바제비 기자와 샹바당 와다 뒤지 응어부터 순지래 말봐
Jimba Danwa, Shamba,
라지 메지 바지 도도 젠지 메지 뒤 뭐버 해버 마와 계속 해버 셔버 이나 젠 가는 거로다 해버 마와 된tum바 된셔바 아니 저런에 연락 좀 봐야 보지 뭐 디바샤고 그래서 어떤들로 젠달들로 젠달들로나지 아니 소소에 되지 그래서 된셔바 된tum바 어떠서 말해 젠지 메버지 어떠서 이제래
Dixon.
Okay,
yeah. So, and it states, all Buddha Bhagavans, please pay attention to me. In this life and in all other states of rebirth in which I have circled in samsara throughout beginningless lives. So since beginningless time, in my beginningless rebirth, whatever roots of virtue I have created by generosity, even as little as giving just one mouthful of food to a being born in the animal realm. So here, this means like giving even a little bit of food to, say, a dog or a cat. Giving them a small amount of food falls into the category of generosity. So it's even the smallest thing, like giving one mouthful of food to an animal, even something as small as that I have done. I would like to dedicate. So here, because generosity is virtue, this is generosity, so it is necessarily virtue. So here it is wishing to dedicate this sort of generosity, and then whatever roots of virtue I have created by guarding morality, whatever roots of virtue created by following in pure conduct. Rinpoche, the Sutrim dang the ni yore tetsuko.
Dagi Sutrim son yu za kala batang. Dagi Tsamba shebe yu za kala marbe.
Nicha the Domba.
Dagi Tsamba shebe sa de Sutrim gojo marda. Dagi Tsamba shebe yu za kala ba. Tsamba sa de Tsamba tabal go gors taba. Liberation. Tsamba sa de tabal go gors liberation. Tsamba shebe yu za sa de taba tobi che to sha chewa choban biwa. Dendegi gawasa jaba ngalo Tsamba shebe gawas. Tsamba liberation taba. Taba tobi che to sa jabi ana gawasa ju ge sen goya. Ani shamba goya, hije goya, yala dwimba la soba. Oda tanje Tsamba shebe yu za was. Taba tobi che to sa jabi ngalo Tsamba shebe gawa. What is that?
Yes, ma'am.
What the
And in the English, where it says guarding morality and following pure conduct, are those combined in the Tibetan? I'm just trying to look quickly. It might, if it's a mistranslation, because I'm hearing Tsutrim Sumpi Gewe Tsao.
It's the line that says following pure morality. That's Sutra. That's the line.
The Tsutrim Sumpi.
And then the following line says Dagi
Zampar.
That means pure conduct, which they refer to as any sort of activity offering 7 limbs, meditation on love, compassion, and so forth, dedicated to liberation.
Okay, all right. That was the Dagi.
For the purpose of that, it's rather for the purpose of liberation.
And then the next one is encouraging others. Okay, all right.
Rightly.
다그 참바셰비 참바세야 된 아주 참데 리트리스야 된 고주무도스 참바 타바 liberation
So,
참바셰비 그 와서나 타바 투비치도 사자비 그 와가로 안에 참바셰비 그 와이 말에 제보 린당 투모이 라제 렘바다 제비 랑 건가 말베 어디 참바셰비 그 와르는 건도
Okay, so the next line I have created by guarding morality. That refers to any of the 3 types of virtue. If the individual liberation vows, the bodhisattva vows,
추진송이 거와데 저와 도마메반 다디바도 나 추진송 메스 텐지요 말스 저와 도마메반 가서 추진 뭐 송요하래 상상 가서 글롱 제요하래 글롱 마제요하래 그추제요하래 게니제요하래 뭐 추진 뭐
Ngai Dumba Sanchi
샤주셈도
Sutra
어떤 사샤비 추진 거 뭐요하래스 어떤 공화적이스
You know, the Sutra Tsum, the
어떤 예지래 인쇼 돈 추진 신전 되지 추진 어떤
this, the Ngai Dumba, Okay, so any kinds of virtuous or morality that one engages in. So sometimes we have taken on the vows of a fully ordained monk or nun, or taken on the novice vows or lay vows, any of the individual liberation vows. Sometimes we have taken on those types of vows. Sometimes we have taken on the bodhisattva vows, and sometimes we have taken on the tantric vows. So any morality that we engaged in, or any vows that we guarded, fall into this category. So this is what is meant by created by guarding morality. The next, whatever roots of virtue I've created by following pure conduct. Pure conduct here refers to any activity which becomes a cause for liberation. So for the purpose of liberation. So any of the practices basically that fall into the teachings shared in common for beings of medium capacity and the teachings for being of great capacity. So the liberation that is spoken of in the small scope, and the medium scope and the great scope. So the practices contained within that lead one to liberation fall into this category of by following pure conduct. So the acknowledgement of downfalls, or doing 7-limb prayer, any of these love or compassion, or any of these things which we engage in, which lead to liberation, fall into the category of pure conduct.
어제 다그 참바셰비 기zo 간라바서 어디인사래 다 다그 신제유스 미버 제비 기zo 간라바서 다그 신제유스 미버 제비 기zo와서 야데 랑주 메지 파신도 예주 메지 뒤주 뭐부터마베 뒤응어부지 임바 땅와 해바 마와 된된바 된셔바 말베 이제 임바 땅이 있는 제 가부용 거로 네 임바 땅 아니 계자 녀버셰바 있는 제 가부용 거로 다 So
the next line, whatever virtues I have created by fully ripening sentient beings. So here, I wasn't clear, so I'm going to have to ask Rinpoche, unless you're clear on that. 4 ways in which one ripens sentient beings. Generosity, Nyepo, the Jimba, talking pleasantly or talking calmly, Jimba dang.
Kecha nyambo she na magabu yungoro, senja yabacha nungoro, yinba dang na magabu yungoro, yin ke ju ming wungoro. Tene, da chorong shangchu sen kungoro das, gawa yabache wuro sila, yin laba na yin susu ke nyang len che na, ane yin ke ju de yabare wungoro, ju ming wungoro si. Yin ju ming she, du yu ngobo je, wato su yin jira.
Then jipa gare, the tambo jimba, nipa.
Dön shue ba, dön bas. Dön shue bas na, ane yin da chorong, ane tongsha dön gore, diba sha gore, shangchu ke sen kungoro si, yin da la goro ba. Yin da laba de, dön shue ba maribe, dön shue si goro ba. Yin chorong chue abu je, jibu ngan yung ke san tang gore, shangchu sen la san tang gore, tongni kong gore si, yin la goro ba.
Lesso.
Dön shue ba si gore.
Lesso.
Dön bas na, yin laba na yin susu nyang len je gore si.
What we practice, we tell others.
yin
Our
laba
own
na yin
practice.
susu nyang len je ba yin na, ane kuwa gabu chung goro ta.
Oh,
Da kuwa ngal dende je kundu, kurong nyang len je kundu yabri san, ane
our
kuwa
own
sen min.
practice, they can see as a
Dön
reflection.
shue dön
Okay.
yin je ba da. Wat da su yin sare.
Okay, so there are four ways, or four categories here. So the first being generosity or giving. So if we are generous or giving to other sentient beings, then they will like this, and they will like it and enjoy it. Talking nicely or talking pleasantly or calmly is another way. This is in the fully ripening sentient beings line. So the four ways in which one can fully ripen sentient beings is generosity first in giving, because they will enjoy this, talking nicely and calmly, and then giving an explanation of practice, saying you should do this kind of practice, this is renunciation, this is the mind that aspires to enlightenment, this is emptiness, etc. So giving explanations of seven-limb prayers and so forth, of dharmic practices, is the third category. And the fourth is our own practice that serves as, it's almost encouragement, or our own practice
The
that...
way in which we tell other people to practice love and compassion and so forth, that we practice ourselves in the same way. They can look at it and they say, oh yeah, he's really doing well.
So as almost like so exactly. So others, our own practice and engaging in the practices that we're telling others to do, so that they can then see us doing these things and know that they work, saying, yes, he's doing well. Yes, these practices work. So it's our own practice that serves as a reflection of the teachings.
Oje, ta daga shang chu chu de sen ji bi ge zo kan la ba dans, daga shang chu chu de sen ji bi ge zo kan la ba, da nga zu jun de men ga du ju gun de sen ji bi chu, da jen nya ba ji gun de sen ji bi chu, an su su nya len ji, an ya na ya to gong bei ge wa de sun yi ji ro. Wo de zo, an hua ya ge zo wa wo de su de ji yin ba de da.
The next line, whatever roots of virtue I have created by generating bodhicitta, or generating the mind that aspires to enlightenment. And here, this enlightenment, mind that aspires to Mahayana, parentheses, enlightenment. So here, this refers to any practices that one has engaged in that lead one to the mind that aspires to enlightenment, such as the 7-point cause and effect for realizing or achieving the mind that aspires to enlightenment, or equalizing and exchanging self with others. Any of these practices that lead to bodhicitta that I have engaged in, I would like to dedicate. So that's what this line is saying. I would like to dedicate these virtuous actions, and specifically the ones related to the mind that aspires to enlightenment and its generation.
Oje, da de ne ka za daga shang chu chu de sen ji bi ge zo kan la ba da. Ane daga la na me bi shi ji ge zo kan de ba. Daga la na me bi.
Let's go. The dagi lana maybe yeshi
Yeshi ji ge zo kan la ba.
gala pade.
Daga la na me bi ro wa. Daga la na me jon
Tamche chidu dushi. Here, let me give you my tags. 'Cause I'm using something else. Ding nghe mà vụ.
to ma nga yo nga de yo.
Yirbe, zawa yirbe.
Ma shi bi jon Nyala de na de de mo ge ju lu bi chu tin dang wo de de shi cha de da de.
Yeshe. Shiro.
That Goasheva Tuna Jundu, Jessinjin, also membership, Sinjin, also membership.
Lana maybe Yeshe.
Draws, how about Jundu Lana maybe some Juju to send the Jidos. And what the Jita.
I think so. Kali Kali. That's how we want it.
Good thought. Lana maybe she choking in loss. The two be shadow. That maybe Susu to be shadow job of gates of Dagalana maybe she gates of Colabas Teresa. Dagalana maybe an Dagalana maybe Dagalana maybe she gates of Colaba. Dagalana maybe she gates of Colaba said. Lana never said, Ishichugo. Kujiro and Robaka Sambukaya, Ishichuku Moni Gumarbe. And Lana maybe she said, Ishichuku is Ishichuku to be Cheto, and Jebu Dinda Tomo larger riba, Jebu Chibi larger riba, and the Goka Saba Kangolo, Dagalana maybe she gives us what the Risha. Ishichuku Nagare.
The wisdom truth body.
Somebody Ishichukuro, Ishichukuji, Ishichuku to be Cheto Sasha big Ognolo, Dagalana maybe Shijikis or Konabos, the Moajiadis.
So dedicating the virtuous activities that lead to the wisdom truth body.
Dedicating all of virtuous activities that were done for the purpose of achieving the grace and achieving enlightenment by means of wisdom.
Ishichuku to be Cheto, Sonata Ishiksu, Metavision, Ishichuku to be Cheto Shachuku Senda, Doni Goya, Shindu Yanejia.
So in order to achieve the wisdom truth body, it's necessary to engage in the practices of the teachings shared in common with beings of medium capacity, the teachings shared for beings of great capacity. It's necessary to engage in the 6 perfections, the mind that aspires to enlightenment and the wisdoms and so forth, in order to achieve the wisdom truth body. Here, this is what the line by whatever roots of virtue I've created by unsurpassed transcendental wisdom.
Tuja Marbe, Jitu Dushins, Toma Maban Tadiba the Sasha Galo, Jitu Dushin, Tujada, yeah, Jitu Dushis at the Dagasabi Gogna Jitu Du. Don't say at there, and then Danyibi Kecharis, Danyiba, and the Tibetan language, all languages situation, all languages. Jitu Dusina, don't say at the Dabudabres, that's Yang Sabi, Nada century, Sajabi Goga Chitu Duba, Jin Dong the said what to go was. Dagajo Tomaban Tadiba Sajabi Goa Tanjiji, Yang Sajabi, Nada century Sajabi Goga, Chitu Dune, and Huaji waters, Marbe, Moji Gazat. The Dataji Chitu Dushin said Toma Maban Tadiba Sajabi, Soso Sajabi Goa, Chitu Tuja the Marbe. Jitu Dushin. Don't the Sana, Yang Sajaba. All century Sajabi, Gognolo, don't the Sana Jitu Duba. Rabin said it. Takande, Yang Sabi Goa Tanje down, Rang Sabi Goa Tanje, and Huains, Moji Goais. Jitu Dushin. Chitu Dushina. Don't the Sana, Nindo Ni. 지도 되신 동대
Assembled and gathered.
동네出家的 수수 사자부 그거出家的 어생집에 사자부 그거出家的 동네 스마르베 동네 하는 거기 있어.
The assembled and gathered
Yeah,
line in the English text.
지도 되신.
So it's here. It says, "I have created by unsurpassed transcendental wisdom all these assembled and gathered." That's the section, right? That we're assembled and gathered, combined together. So here, the word "assembled" is referring to. See, this is what our own. I'm going to start from here. So, I believe the word "assemble" refers to our own virtuous activities that we have accumulated since beginningless time. Any of the virtuous activities or virtuous deeds that we have engaged in or accumulated since beginningless time refers to these assembled, right? Dong. Then the gathered.
That's the first one.
Dong, dong. So assembled and gathered is one. Is that what you're? Oh, you don't have the English. Oh, it says all these assembled and gathered, comma, the inji situation. That's cool. All these assembled and gathered, comma, combined together. So, I wonder if assembled and gathered is the first one.
Assembled is taking all of one's own virtue and putting them together into one thing.
And the others.
Second one, gathered, is all
sentient
other
beings'
virtues
virtue.
gathered together. And the third one, domne, is taking those two collections and putting them together.
Yeah, okay, so I had it right. Cool. Okay, so assembled refers to, since beginningless time, all the virtuous activities we have engaged in. The accumulation of all those that we ourselves have accumulated is the first category. So that's what assembled refers to here. Gathered refers to all the virtuous activities that others, all sentient beings, have engaged in. All of those virtuous activities are what is meant by gathered. Combined together refers to all of my own virtuous activities, or all the virtuous activities I have accumulated since beginningless time, combined with all of the virtuous activities of other sentient beings. So the request for dedication is the dedication here is dedicating all of the virtues that myself and others have created since beginningless time. So individually, separately, and together.
我觉得我顶上，我一个我都我的意思，我一个我的，就同嘛们大地方都说个啥下边个我更加在记住呢，我个意思，人现在他这个啥下边个我更加在读呢，安尼人个啥边个我呢，安尼说啥边个我记读懂呢，安尼现在他就公共都比较我，龙国都比较我，这个都比较我，我等于说你是。
We take all of the virtuous activities. So here, a synopsis of it is dedicating all the virtuous activities that have been accumulated since beginningless time by myself, by others, and the accumulation of both of those together, I dedicate for the purpose of being able to achieve the enjoyment body, for the purpose of being able to achieve the truth body. So here, this is the meaning of this. That is the meaning of this.
What dedication? How dedication? Kande hoa je gorsena da dan ma le gosere. Somba jeta ngui chu na la ma che ba ne de ji da ge jong so ho jos. Ne da ne ji du na la ma che don ne la ma che ba da ko na ma che ba da ko mi ya ko ma la mi ya la ma yong so ngui la na me ba ya da ba zu bi shang chu du yong so ho jos. What de ba da ko mi ha
So the last section is the section on dedication. We've gone over the 3 sections of this section. So the last is the dedication, and the dedication it starts with I fully dedicate and ends it with enlightenment. So I fully dedicate to the unsurpassed, the unexcelled, that higher than the high, that superior to the superior. Thus, I completely dedicate to the highest, perfectly completed enlightenment. So this is the 3rd section of the 3 sections on the dedication, and the first being the request to be heard. The second is the meaning of or what virtue is, and the third being how to actually dedicate. So that is the section on how to dedicate.
import song yours, Quechua you song yours, Gawasa Jaba Gangalo, then the Casabure. Jetan the Hua Jetan Mambo you are there, then we Hua Yashu the song yours, Hua Yashu song Carasana, Chudu Putujuba, Pendi, June, and the Sanji Temba, should you never go to Tashi Jela, never judges, Hawaii, Hua Yashu is, Sanji Temba GB.
Sanjig Demba GB.
Ane gawate ane sajabe jeng sabe gawata rang sabe gawata da thola dene ane bada dishin pa jibundu ya
Spread the Buddhist teachings.
Demba jibi jurmo
Tambo. So the virtue, there are many ways to dedicate a virtue, but it is stated for one to be able to dedicate that virtue in the most powerful way or the most potent way, there should be 3 features to the dedication. The first is that the dedication should be made for the purpose or for the aim at having the Buddhist teachings spread. So the first component of the most potent kind of dedication is that it has within it the dedication in order for the Buddhist teachings to spread out.
Oje tani bade lami jisu zibi muadres lami jisu jiwan tsoro tanje do ane tiba chenbi gigen ki jisu zibi jumo chendelenge den tiba chenbi kishini mambol chune ya jongyo are ane tali lamala suba otuzule tiba chenbi kishini chu mo nya jongre jiwa shema mambula ya jo tanje do denbe kishini ki jisu zibi
So the second part of the dedication, the second important part of dedication is that we dedicate the virtues so that we are able to, in the future, meet with Mahayana teachers or Mahayana spiritual friends. So previously we have received teachings, and now we are receiving teachings from Mahayana spiritual friends. So the dedication is that may we in every single future life, in every single rebirth, be able to meet with and be taught by, be taught by and be taken care of or held in the kindness of our spiritual, Mahayana spiritual friends, or Mahayana Gewe Shenyans, Geshes.
And
the third is that it is dedicated in order to achieve the state of Buddhahood, unsurpassable, true, complete enlightenment.
What the
dedication, 3 components of dedication.
What this one then the Kechaba but the Jermuchi then the Besoro no what the Kechaba song does.
The Bechagare?
This one the Jermuchi,
Bechagare.
Ne Jermuchi to Suyoro, Dakaza, Jermuchi, Juan Nalula, so what the song the does.
In Lama Tsongkhapa's, we can find this in Lama Tsongkhapa's dedications, the Bechagare.
nga tsunde yente shijima ulnduwa jiwa kunde yanta lama tan remen chuji bela nonshu chi sadang la chi yente ro dujishan kong tenduwa ten najin lama songka songka ngal yodaris.
So we can find in the source of all my good, where at the last line it says, in this life and in all lives, may I never be separated from my perfect lamas, may I bask in the glory of the Dharma, may I fulfill perfectly every good quality of every level and path, and reach then the place where I become myself the one who holds the diamond. I think it says that. That's in the last line we see Lama Tsongkhapa wrote this, and it has those components.
Lari duden shungudala tomba lana mebe temba dan jewa ndamda lami tinbe gawando yang roa maleba shinye tabin se jurumos. What the lari duden the lari shimbudu kangal tele druta.
We can find also in the Lamrim Dudun the abbreviated stages the abbreviated stages of the path to enlightenment by Lama Tsongkhapa. We also find a similar dedication, and I have it right here. I did. Oh, I have it in Tibetan. It's Yomare. The Long Yanjar Suranam.
Temba lana mebe temba dan jewa ndela lami tinbe gawando yang roa maleba shinye tabin se jurumos. nga sanji ke temba dan jeba de ne lami kadin la ne sanji ke chudan jeba res gawande yang roa maleba ane shinye tabin zi jur mo gis.
Through the power of this virtuous activity, may this in this life and in future lives I meet with the glorious Dharma, meet with the Dharma and the teachers and spiritual friends or teachers. And I wish I have it somewhere here. I'm sorry, the exact quote. But it basically has all three of those: the wish to become a Buddha, the wish for the spread of the teachings, and the request to meet with teachers in the future.
Lana macheba to kona macheba zinilo do ni cheba kares lana macheba to kona macheba to komia koma lamia lama zonduas lana macheba to kona macheba zinilo ga jusen kare lana macheba sun kare kona macheba sti donda kares.
Okay. Kona machipada lana machipada kona machipada lana machipada
Rasmo
indicate rasa.
Lana macheba shebe zoku tenguyus lana macheba seade robakaya marebe o zoko chuku
emanation body.
Lana macheba se zoko ko gores zoko lana machi shebe zoku tenne kona machi shebe ne chuku tenba ino damakaya da robakaya ni rebe lana macheba seade ne Robakaya rebe
Lana machipadang zuko
damakaya
Gona machipadang lonko
Lana machiba shibi zoku tensa
Then gona
Lana machiba shibi
machipadang
zoku je zoku la lonko to chuku ni yoro Lana machiba shibi zoku ten Gona machiba shibi chuku ten goro chuku Yeshi chuku to ngoni ko se marbe Ta komiya koma lamiya lama ziyad karesna komiya koma lamiya lama she chaba ne komi koma ne longko res longko to komi koma res lami lama to choko res choko lami lama komi koma longko choko lami lama longko chu komi koma yinde ane time ta Shanchu samba chule no koma re komi koma
That's gorum che the lana machipadang zuko gona machipadang lonko
chuko
gona machipa
Gona macheba shibi chuku tembaris
gomiyan goma
shebe gomiyan goma zade gomi goma shebe lonko ten lonko gomi goma lonko res lami lama chuku res lonko la gomi goma shebe jutsen yode shansen sajoba la goma dans shansen sajoba tengarang goma res tele lonko lava res gomi goma la res
Tambo Lana Machipa.
Lana Macheba Zuko.
Gona Machipa Chuku. Gomi Yangoma Lonko. Lami Yan Lama Gonsu Chuku.
Rubakaya.
The Chuku dan Zuko Chapagari.
Emanation.
I understand the form body and emanation body are similar. So with the Tambo dan Jipa Chapagari, Zuko dan Chuku yin and Zuko yin cha. Zuko yin.
Zuko yin na Zuko yin micha. Zuko yin na Zuko yin macho longo
the Ale Zuko Lonko dan Chuku.
Zuko na longo to Zuko niyo dro.
Okay, so all right. So I just want to make sure it's clear each word. So I fully dedicate to the unsurpassed. The unsurpassed refers to the form body. So this refers to the form body, which is divided into two, the emanation body and the enjoyment body. So the first line, to the unsurpassed, refers to the form body. The unexcelled refers to the truth body. That higher than high refers to the enjoyment body, and the superior to the superior refers to the emanation body. Zuku, Chuku, Lunku, Truku. Okay.
Komiya koma lamiya lama yusum hui lana meba ya taba zubi shang chu tu mo ju wo tu su tu che tu jung ho yin sen sa.
So the reason for the word, I forgot one thing, unsurpassed, is that even the 10th ground bodhisattvas are lower than those with the enjoyment body. So the lesser vehicle or any of the bodhisattvas on the 10 grounds up to the 10th ground, they are even lower than the truth, the enjoyment body of the Buddha. So this is the reason for the word unsurpassed. The Shansen
Sajo Chen Garang Koma He Dama de Longo is a Komiyan Koma. What did it? That Drogo the Lamia Lama Sewa Garasna, Timetan, and then Shanshu Samba to Lamaris Lama. Drogo the Tele have Lama is a Lamia Lamas.
Truku, Papa, the Yanju Suranang. It's something you.
Drogo Lami Lama Sheju, Jusen Yete, Yara Dajumba Tang, Yara Dajumba Tang. And Tasala Nebi Shansen Lama in Lasa, Yana Dajumba Dan, Shanchu Samba to Lama is, do good to delay Laba is a Lami and Lama is.
Okay. So the line that says superior to the superior, the reason it says that is even a Hinayana foe destroyer or a hearer foe destroyer has less qualities or is lower than the emanation body of the Buddha. So the emanation body is higher than superior to the superior because it is superior to beings like foe destroyers in the Hinayana vehicle, a lesser vehicle, or the Nyerang Papa, Nyerang Da Jumba Dang.
Yana Dajumba the Shanchu Samba to Lama is
the Nyerang Da Jumba, Shanchu Samba Dang. The Kashe Lason, Shanchu Samba.
Yana Dajumba Dang, Shanchu Samba to Lama is. Do go to Labi Lama is, Lami Lama.
So the foe destroyers and bodhisattvas are teachers, but they are not as high as the emanation body.
What the Komiyan Koma Lami and Lama Yusum, Hui Lana Meba, Yantaba Zubi, and Jenda Zugi and the Gawati Karso, Komiyan Koma Lami and Lama, Yusum, Hui Lana Meba Yantaba, and the Sanjit and Shanchu about Tenukwa Naji, and then Yat and Hongi is low in some other Gawatuzo. Lana Machiba to Kona Machiba down, Komiyan Koma, Lami and Lama, Yusum, Hui Lana Meba Yantaba, Zeba Dijin Dag Kaza.
Yosu ngowa jiyo. Yosu ngowa jiyo.
Lana machiba to kona machiba to kumiya kuma lamiya lama kumiya kuma lamiya lama yosu ngoi lana meba yada ba zubi shanchu to yosu ngora juhos kema shanchu samba zuki awa deje to tubi je to ngoi wares den naji ngaya ngogi ise insare.
Okay. So I fully dedicate to the unsurpassed, the unexcelled, that higher than the high, the superior, that superior to the superior. Thus I completely dedicate to the highest, perfectly complete enlightenment. So in the way that the bodhisattvas previously dedicated, I dedicate this virtue or these virtues. As the prior bodhisattvas dedicated, I dedicate now. For what reason? Thus I completely dedicate to the highest, perfectly completed enlightenment or Buddhahood.
Okay. Tang hoa de jida nanga chibures o hoa de jida ke chibures ane malarebe to son bares jetu malarebe nenjo jo onjo malarebe ane malarebe ane trala ne bi gonchen ta choa je jinda ni sanya bu je tende yus tral de ne gonjo de ke gonchen ta ta ane tral de ke gonjo ke de jinda de sa thona ta o tende ke choba bi de ke jinda ni bu de sa je du nyang du je ya ke tende yu waris ane ko hwa la tende yu waris o de so da
Yanjer Surama.
ane trala ne bi gonchen ta tra rag trapo no gonjo
Cave.
trala ne bi gonchen ta choa bi jinda ni sa nyang je tende yu waris trala ne gonjo de ke de chi sa go thwa men de to marwa o de jinda de ane ji ki jinda de ne sa thwa te ji gonjo ane ko hwa ya ba je na gonjo ke de da jinda ni de sa je du nyang je ya tende yu waris o de son waris.
Have you heard this?
What he said was if for a permanent is offered, he doesn't have anything to eat or drink, and so for him to receive offerings from a sponsor, food and drink and so forth, and if he dedicates those well, then that creates the auspicious connection for them to achieve Buddhahood together.
What the doesn't work that.
That's what Milarepa said.
This is a statement by Milarepa. The statement is that although I have nothing to offer because I am a meditator in a cave, I don't have food or drinks or anything to offer. I have many people who take care of me, who bring food and drinks, obviously, because he's in a cave meditating. And the dedication that is made allows both myself and the sponsors or ones who offer to reach Buddhahood together. Is that?
Oh, that's right. Da kan de malare be gonjan da khron ji sa thona phegen to so hwa je go da hwa de je ne sa je de nyang du je wa ya ge o ten de yin wo je ro da o de na ji je da gan da bu yin je da.
So if in this case the dedication is an auspicious dedication and has the ability to allow the givers and the recipient to achieve the state of enlightenment together, then we will be able to do this in the same way.
Ane tam lu jin ne tam ne shang chu se da ja ge twen bi hwen shang chu sen bi go so tam lu jin ba dang ne ane ta chu nga bu de chu gu dang bu go de lo ma cha ngo do lo ma re ngo do ko nga de ane ta ama de swa je ama cha ya wo de hwa da de ge to le yin ba da hwa la ten ne de yong
Biula, it's
the tam lu jin le ane swa je ge ku ju de shang chu sen ba de lu tam jane ra su den later Buddha teaching chen khong de ta tru ma do de so yin ba.
So the story, we can find this in the story of Buddha in his previous life when he was a bodhisattva, and he engaged in the generosity of his own body to tiger cubs. So these tiger cubs and the mother that he gave his own flesh to because they were hungry and had nothing to eat, translator's note, they were starving, so Buddha came upon them in the forest and saw this and gave his own flesh. That's translator's note. So the connection was made with them, and the dedications were made of this virtuous activity by Buddha, and this created the connection to allow them in their future lives to become his mother and his root disciples or students.
dene saje gar jeda jasu chen chuti tar jasu magaba to temese tin shachu yong gawa ya shachu ma to temese an chuti ba ji jasu na sa so na oshin wode oshin to magaba to chuti ba sa zo mares te na ji gawa chuchu jil me ba yin ya gawa de saje go ho to bi joro mo saje ge ten ba ji bi joro mo te ba chen bi ge shin ji sun ji bi jong mo ba yin na ane saje go mo ma to ji ba to ane gawa de rebel ka ze ron sho ba yin na zoa yo mares mango tree damres ane lor mo rebo mo do ja res ane gawa de ma ho ba yin na banana tree damres rebi tan zo res. It's
been stated by the Buddha that just like a drop of water in the ocean does not disintegrate or is not extinguished until the entire ocean is extinguished, all virtuous activities that are properly dedicated are not extinguished until one achieves the state of Buddhahood. So the meaning of this is if one puts a drop of water into the ocean, that drop cannot be extracted until the entire ocean is gone. Likewise, any virtuous activities that we've engaged in, meeting with Mahayana spiritual teachers and receiving teachings, any of the various types of virtuous activities that we've been able to engage in, if they are properly dedicated, then they will remain with us until we achieve the highest state of Buddhahood or complete enlightenment. So we want our virtuous activities to be like a mango tree. A mango tree every season produces fruit again and again and again. We do not want it to be like a banana tree that only produces one season's worth of fruit and then dies. So our virtues should go on and on and on in the same way that a mango tree does. And they will if they are properly dedicated. And if they are not properly dedicated, they become like a banana tree that dies after one season.
ane shangchen de shangju ko so gawa yin kun chushin taba wa shangju sen ji junshin taba wa rebo myang meze pewon jurus what the shangju ko so mu de
If the mass of
hwa ma je be gawa kun lo chushin sen banana tree marbe what the gawa yin kun chushin taba wa shangju kasa rebo njibe seba jurus shangju sen ji junshin taba wa rebo mhebe meze pewon jurus mango tree no mo sanji go to be jung mo jabe jung hoya sanji temba jibe jung mo ane ki shinye ki jibsun se jung mo jabe ki za to so tene ba mango tree no res kaze beje jena rebo mo do jagres.
So the exact long, do you have the exact long?
Shanti do.
Shanti Deva
Shanti do
Bodhichara
so
Avatara.
The first chapter of Shanti Deva is just as the planted tree, ordinary virtues like planted trees after bearing fruit, they simply perish.
That's exactly it.
The virtues of bodhicitta grow and grow without limit.
Thank you. So that's the quote from the Bodhichara Avatara in the first chapter. And the meaning of this is if we properly dedicate our virtues, and they have the proper dedication, which is the request to meet in the future with Mahayana teachers, and it has the request for the teachings to be spread, and has the request to become a fully enlightened Buddha. If these three components of the dedication are present, then they become like the mango tree that constantly produce fruit. And if they are not properly dedicated, they are like the banana tree that perish immediately after the fruition.
That then man de ya jure that jetan de be sanje jonde le na je yon sung ha ba dans jetan de be sanje jonde le na je yon sung ha ba dans jetan ma je be sanje jonde le na je yon sung ha an jo wa dans 제다 다다지 선제 존된데 나중 요송 호는 제바 대신도 다게장 요송 호지우스 어떻게다가 녀바쳐버렸어.
Just as the previous Buddha Bhagavans have fully dedicated, just as the future Buddha Bhagavans will fully dedicate, just as the presently abiding Buddha Bhagavans are fully dedicating, like that too, I dedicate fully.
어때는 해말에 사실 돌아가 Buddha temple 여러 Buddha temple 춘지공회 뭐비와르스 춘지공회도 안에 라사가 샹바 아부 롱고도 좀 하나다 제가 말다고죠 대바쳐보여와래 로막 타타스 여대겐도서 대바쳐보여바지 안에 공화된 비다버 공화시가 말다 안에 라사가 아자도 카드보여다 산지게 대바져바죠 라면 고세 대바쇼스 되는 뭐라요 라사집에서 아니 고지 라사가 라가는 춘지로 와라 안에 내래 라사 제메지게 되는 칸 몸으로는 공화제고로 그 몸도야요다 아니 대상바되게 그 세고 말하다 다 아자들 갈라와이나 나타가 용하쇼스 그 말하다 든디도다
Daga Yonshu.
아자들이 dedication similar 마이 나타가 이슬라고 아자들 말하다 바나지 내 말하다가 그것도 바나지 용하쇼스
Cha, then Ko Surbe.
그 아자들
The Aja Molanjagadu.
아자 카드고요. 다 마블라요로. 지들라요 말다.
Ale, okay.
아니 그 아자도 마블라도 돼야 그래서 어떤 나요.
Okay, I haven't. So one time in Lhasa, I'm going to give you the gist of it. It'll mean the same thing. In Lhasa, there was one woman who was making lots of dedications. She was making all kinds of prayers and was saying, please abide in this world Lama, and making all these wonderful dedication prayers. And then there was another woman there who really couldn't say anything, didn't know how to recite these prayers, wasn't skilled in this. So she just said, whatever she's saying, I dedicate the same way. So the woman who couldn't recite the prayers very well just said, well, whatever the woman over there who is reciting the prayers well is saying is what I dedicate to. Similar to this here is similar to that. They have great abilities.
다다 상제수 모아지고래 나 듣나지 용하고 마음을 상제수 모아 제반나지 용하고 어쨌든 내버쳐버렸어 은장배 바위 제다 셈마다 군도 som부터 다다 군지 지수다 교환다다 당시로도 뒤송시비 자와 당시 어떤 말을 어때 뒤송시비 자와 당시지 홍화강을 주도 나바데 다젠기 자원데 군지 상부시지로도 모아지
So here where it says, just as the previous Buddha Bhagavans have fully dedicated, just as the future Buddha Bhagavans will fully dedicate, and just as the presently abiding Buddha Bhagavans are fully dedicating, like that too, I dedicate fully. So if we're dedicating the virtue created by ourselves and others, then we can dedicate all the virtue that the previous Buddhas have created. And we can dedicate all the virtue that the present Buddhas, or the Buddhas that are abiding, created. And also, I'm sorry, let me try that again. So we can fully dedicate the virtue that the present Buddhas, the previous Buddhas, and the future Buddhas created, create, and will create. So here we can dedicate in the same way that these three types of Buddhas have dedicated. I'm sorry.
And then he quoted the verse that's in our dedication.
Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot that. And then it's this, thank you. It's exactly the same as in the Samantabhadra dedication, where it says, I dedicate all this virtue to emulate the knowledge of the hero Manjushri, and likewise Samantabhadra as well. With whatever dedication is praised as supreme by all the conquerors who traverse the three times, I also dedicate all my roots of virtue for the sake of auspicious deeds. So here, this is the same as meaning-wise as this here. I dedicate in the same way as the past, present, and future Buddhas dedicate, and will dedicate my virtue. So it's similar to the Samantabhadra dedication. Thank you.
어제 다 동작을 된다고 것들 된생 송송송 대바샤비 추
So the
거와 무유 추니 참들다 다 요기 연라 뒤는 땜바세다 어디 살다 송바들다 송바.
So there are three sections of this explanation or commentary. The first section being Dipashabitsu Tambo.
대바샤비
The first is the acknowledgement of downfalls. The second is accumulation of virtue, gewatsa,
거와 무유 추 dedication
dedication of virtue,
요도
and the general meaning of condensed meaning of the text.
요도 동사되게 연라 뒤바 된거 요스 사면에 요 뒤나 사면에 된거 그래서 연라 뒤 된거.
So if we abbreviate it, we can abbreviate it into the seven limb or the seven branches of the seven limb prayer or seven branch prayer.
어제 다른 만두었던 가서 레송아 제단 대비 선제 존된 나죠 뭐가도 제단 맞으면 선제 존된 나죠 뭐는 좋아다 제단 다다죠 선제 존된 나죠 뭐한세 봐 대진도 다게 장요서 뭐래 제오스 어디바 제로와 참다 동샤기 된센니 참들 다 송바들에 대바 탄질라는 소소샤소 소나 탄질라는 제소이랑 상제 탄질라는 그지 소한데서 다기라나면 시 초당바 투바 주지 마주 저와 간다 다다져바다 간다 대바다다 대진 감마지 연된 하바 타이자 순다 타모 저와제데 저수녀래 초오세야 되게 요라 듀바 된고 듀네 요라 듀바 된고 그래서 어디 인사래.
So here we've already gone over the acknowledgement of downfalls and the dedication of virtues, and we've arrived at the condensed meaning. And here is a condensed, the seven limbs we can find in a condensed fashion. I confess all negativities individually. I rejoice in all the merits. I urge and employ all Buddhists to grant my request. May I receive the highest, most sublime, transcendental wisdom. To the conquerors, the best of humans, those who are living in the present time, those who have lived in the past, and those who will likewise come, to all those who have qualities as vast and infinite as an infinite ocean, with hands folded I approach for refuge.
어제 다더네 가서 다 디바 탄질라는 소소샤스 디바 탄질라는 소소샤스데 샤비 요라 타마데 로사데스 근도와 디바 탄질라는 소소샤스 온 딘데레스 다 가서 디바 나게 디바 뢰지 디바 이지 디바 송 요가르스 나게 디바드 컨데샤 워르스나 나게 디바드 나네 안치 오만 베모서 때도 오만은 마음은에서 어떤 게 송아도 되네 나는 사샤 디바드 다바시 워르스 뢰지고는 사샤비 디바샤 세워던 초반비와라 수비 뢰지고는 사비 디바샤 이지고는 샴바던 이지고가 돈이 공발라 수비 이지고는 디바샤 소소소소샤 워르스 뢰지 디바 뢰기샤 나게 디바 나게 기샤 이지 디바 이지 기 소소소소샤 디바 탄젤 소소샤 어디 인사래.
You know, the Tomwani dan yi Deepa Yomare dan Drawa Lo nga yi then susu
뢰주고는 수주바 마진발레마 마사마쇼도 뭐요로 어디 가서 뢰주고는 샤세와던 주범비와 뢰그와 샤고레스 네보 에드다 다 나고는 하쇼도 준 참아시중아시 어디 저거로 아니 나고는 대동문은 마음은 이전에다 어떤지 돈샤 아니 이지고는 되샤 콘돌라서 디바도 저거로 아니 샴바다 이지도 돈이 고네 소소소소샤 어떤지 데도다 냥도 샤는 지고
So I confess all negativities individually. So this refers to each of the negativities that we can create through the three doors or three vessels, the body, speech, and the mind. So negativities of the body we've engaged in, such as killing, stealing, and sexual misconduct, can be combated with virtuous activities such as giving, generosity of offering, and and prostration, physical prostration, and homage. The speech has 4 categories of negativity: lying, harsh words, gossip, and divisive speech. And to combat that, we can recite various prayers, do recitations of Om Mani Padme Hum mantras, and engage in various positive prayers and so forth with our speech. The mind, we can create negativities through covetousness, wrong view, and harmful intent. And to combat these negativities, we can engage in meditation on love, compassion, emptiness, etc. This is the way in which we can combat these negativities. So here, this is saying, I confess or acknowledge each one of them individually, so listing them individually. But saying, acknowledging them all together is okay as well.
다 디바 탄질라 소소샤스 텐데 고난디고노스 아니 글론다 안나다 나누 소중 소도와 수다고 너무 소중 소도 작은도와 된나지 상 주선바 소중 소아요다 아니 하게요 너무 소소소소 자지요로 어떤데 고난디고지래.
So then there are those individuals also who need to confess their individual vows that they've taken on, such as or infractions of their individual vows they've taken on, such as monks or nuns who take on those types of vows, or any of the those who hold the individual lifetime individual liberation vows. There are those who need to confess those individually, and those who hold bodhisattva vows who need to confess those individually, and those who hold tantric vows that need to confess infractions individually. So the confession or acknowledgement here refers to an infraction or a downfall related to the vow in this case of explanation.
다 소노 타질란 제수이로 rejoice 말베 소노 타질란 제수이라고 해서 되게 rejoice 되는 거 왔어. 연락 뒤바가 나네 rejoice 말베.
So the first is the limb of confession. The next states, I rejoice in all the merits. So all merits that have been created, I rejoice, and this is the limb of rejoicing of the 7 limbs.
안도 상제 타질란 귀시 소한데서 안에 귀신 소한데서
I urge and implore all Buddhas to grant my request. This has 2 of the limbs in it, 2 of the branches. The first being the request to turn the wheel, and the second entreating or begging to not pass to nirvana. So the first, the 2 limbs that this line represents are the request to teach or turn the wheel, and the request in a stronger sense, entreating or begging them to stay in this world. May I receive the highest, most sublime transcendental wisdom. So this is the dedication here. To the conquerors, the best of humans, those who are living in the present time, those who have lived in the past, and those who will likewise come, to all those who have qualities as vast as infinite ocean, with hands folded, I approach for refuge. So this section is on refuge. So the 7 limb prayers are found in this text, Confession of Downfalls, as follows. Here it says, begins with all of these homage to the founder, Bhagavan, Tathagata, Arhat, perfectly completed Buddha, glorious conqueror, Shakyamuni Buddha, I prostrate. That's the first limb of the 7-limb prayer, homage or prostration. The second limb of the 7-limb prayer, offering, is represented here in homage. So prostration is not only the first limb of homage or first limb prostration limb, it's also the second limb of offering. The third limb of confession is found, and then is found, as previously explained. The fourth limb of rejoicing is found. The fifth limb of requesting to teach, the sixth limb of entreating to turn the wheel of Dharma, and the seventh limb of dedication are now can all be found in this text. So we've explained where they all are in this text, basically.
어제 다다네 도들라 pombo sombindo segres pombo sombindo se 동샤를 pombo sombindo 송가res 도들라 pombo sombindo seg고야 주생 가르스나 네 pombo som든데레스 거왕무이 pombo 제소이랑 pombo 디바샤비 pombo 송여장 pombo som빈도스
So the reason that this is called also the Sutra of the Three Heaps, the reason why it's called this as well is that there are 3 heaps, or 3 aggregates, if you will, 3 parts of this. So the first, Tambo Nipa Sumba, the Tambo Nipa. So the first is the aggregate of confession. The second is the dedication of virtue. And the third is the heap or aggregate of rejoicing. So in dependence upon these 3, the text relies or has these 3 components. So this is why it is called the Sutra of the 3 heaps, or the 3 aggregates.
다 디바 다 나서 디바 다비 다 가려요레스 로와 디바 샤나진 디바 다요 소지고 송바레스 네 니부터 저 상고니 샤나신 마다비 디바요 마레스 앙굴 말로 디바 다바레스 아니 생 가려요레스나 냐나노 용거레스 말로 드링 어데 드링레 디바 다비 다 가려요레스나 네 다도스레스다 칼레 말로 도세 nga 줘봐서 nyala na lo nga su khala doja den ya chuba nyala da ba yin deva da bares mala su ne singa chuba
nipa
ane nipa de shodon oma thwa shodon oma thwa nyala da so na ane deva da bares
la ran chemo chipa sumba
nyama da da wa thwa
ya
den na khalon rowa mambawa maheta mambawa paya
okay.
Then my down. Manabu Tobas. My his and as a jagal, my his as Madu, Longo Davici. Nabuchin do what they. My head on Mandabat and Zine, Kotosona, what they, Yalan Damba in the Dibatabataris.
Tamche. Okay, decent. So, how do we know if a purification?
Galonda, Glomi, Ganitoma. Galonda, Gloma, Yalan Ton, Yalan Tansona, Dibatavaris.
That's a.
Omanjon Shin dance.
I know, comprende.
Lambuchedan, Dadan, Chuchudan, Lanchin Lushemba, Dalushemba, Relenziba, trade in the trade in the Deba, Otunyalan down the Debataris, Kamba Zambi into Ziba, Kamba Tumbukitin and Zana. And the Chuneba, Damalese, what then the Shona Yalando. Debatabitaris, Debatabita, but Kuyi is only Sonjas Tantra. Yeah, okay.
So, what are the various signs that can be seen if there's been a purification? How do we know? What is the sign? And we know that there have been beings who have purified, such as the example of Angamala that we have given before. So what are signs that a purification has taken place? I'm going to list a whole of various signs that one can find. And where can they be found? They are found in our dreams. So if one has a dream that he or she is vomiting bad food, then this is a sign that a purification has taken place. drinking yogurt or milk, seeing the sun or moon, going into space or flying into space, seeing large fires, mounting on something, Rinpoche had said, getting on something that's similar to an elephant, killing I don't want to, this isn't a racial slur, black people. Now black people are color black, the color in a dream, and if someone is completely black, so this is what is meant when I say black people. So a black person in a dream, this is a sign of purification has taken place. Seeing monks or nuns, a tree that gives milk, mounting an elephant, a horse, or a lion, seeing a house that is very high up, or a castle, listening to Dharma, all of these things are signs. Climbing a mountain, all of these.
Seeing monks or nuns.
dendegi dat nyelang dat chen chasongba dele nasa meba je na dendegi nyelang tenba ina diba tago waris nasa yobe ko nyelang dhamma ta yo maris.
So at night, at the right time, if one is not ill, then one can engage in analysis of dreams. But if one is sick or has an illness, then it's not appropriate to analyze your dreams.
je tongsha de ta nge tongsha de shirage gabu yos chuchu ko nga gi tambu tambu ngal tongsha lawres tene zo nyama tabal tongsha sar rindong yos ten sam beje de se jona sa song dong yos dabundus.
So I truly have enjoyed giving this teaching on the Confession of Downfalls. I really like this. It was the first teaching that my teacher gave to me when I was learning Tibetan. And I, ever since then, began to recite it every single day, since my teacher taught this to me. And these days, perhaps I do it 3 times a day, every single day. So I've really enjoyed, it's been very good giving this teaching or explanation of the Confession of Downfalls.
Diba mo ta gres diba mada na diba ge jowa shima na so den so so dongen yong gres dongen.
So this purifies misdeeds, and if misdeeds are not purified in future next life or in future lives, one will have to experience suffering as a result of them. So now I'm going to give the transmission of the text, Confession of Downfalls. Zulu sanye be jawa shaja toba la sha solo tijin sheba tujin sheba radun jomba la sha solo tijin sheba rinchen yotu la sha solo tijin sheba longa ki jebu la sha solo tijin sheba payu de la sha tijin sheba peji la sha solo tijin sheba rinchen ma la sha solo tijin sheba rinchen dayo la sha tijin sheba tonga doyo la sha solo tijin sheba rinchen dawa la sha tijin sheba dhamana ba la sha solo tijin sheba pejin la sha solo tijin sheba samba la sha tijin sheba sambi shen la sha solo tijin sheba chula la sha solo tijin sheba chu la la sha tijin sheba pezang la sha solo tijin sheba senden pe la sha solo tijin sheba ziji tayi la sha tijin sheba wepe la sha solo tijin sheba nyanga mebe pe la sha solo tijin sheba simi jibu la sha solo tijin sheba mutu pe la sha solo tijin sheba sambi weze namba ribi ngoba chime ba la sha solo tijin sheba pemi weze namba ribi ngoba chime la sha solo tijin sheba Norbe la sha solo tijin sheba tembi pe la sha solo tijin sheba sembe shen tu yong tra la sha solo tijin sheba omba tu ki jesen jebo la sha tijin sheba shen tu naba nebe pe la sha solo tijin sheba yule shen tu naba jewa la sha tijin sheba naba nebe shibe pe la sha solo tijin sheba kwenye nwa kebe pe la sha tijin sheba rishen poma naba neba la sha solo tijin sheba drachu ma yanda pa zubi sanje rinpo cheta pe ma la radu sheba sanje rwa ki jebo la sha solo Tada la subi shuju jinen ji khan tangje na tijin sheba da chuma yanda wa subi sanji chunden di khan jini ji shudu si shebe sanji chunden di da tangje da la gongsu su da ki jawa dada jawa temi tawa ma sheba na kuwa na kuyi khan dibi le jeba da jeda zawa da jeba la jizo chuden ji kuran gani ji kuran shuju gani ji ku chuba la jizo sama sheba ngayi le jeba da jeda zawa da jeba la jizo magawa juyi le ji la yang taba la wala sheba da judu zawa da juba la jizo
이런 레지티바 컨거든 다시제 냐와 저 돈이 진에서 저 예다 유다고도 저 라로 저 하스레면 저 오바마 상황 저 다로반 제만 저 사제 중앙을 녀면 제번 주 레지티바 컨라마다 다단지 사제 존에는 고이 시수 주바 신도 주바 보도 주바 서면 주바 첨에서 보다 그 생각도 차소 뭐셔 보면 또 산지 좀 쭈쭈 동화지라서 사제 존에는 다단지 다 예수 발신도 저 받는 저 세면 저 첨에서 보다 그 생각도 차소 뭐셔 보면 또 산지 좀 쭈쭈 동화지 라서 사제 존에는 다단지 달라 공수 다그 저완도 저와 도면 담 마셔받는 고아는 그 전에 고아나 그 전에 전에서 돈이 전에서 제발 세카지에서 세기에서 걸어봐 다그 추진선 위에서 다그 선바시비에서 걸어봐 다그 세제 용서 해바지비에서 걸어봐 다그 상주주도 세제비에서 걸어봐 다그라나면 이시지에서 걸어봐 간라바다 다시 지도 되신 돈네 라나 마치바도 고나 마치바도 고메요 고마 라메야 라마 요소 호연라나메 바야다 바주 샹초도 요소 모레 조 제단데베 손지 존네 나지 요소 호바데 제다마 점비 손지 존네 나지 요소 호라 조 제다다다 지 손지 존네 나지 요소 호안제 바데 지도 다게 요소 호라 조 티바 다질라는 소리자 손 다질라는 지수 사제 다질라는 그지 소안데서 다게 라나메 시지 초당바 도바 주지 뭐저 저와 간다 저와도 간다데 바다 뜻이 가만 된가 봐. 타이자도나 타모 저와제데 저소냐라 최고 남아서 저세베 동아샤바다 하면데 뒤다다 라마라 저서 저 상제라 저서 저 줄라 저서 근데라 저 담아 전에 디지셔바다 좀 야다 바주 상지 배저와 샤자 토발라 샤셀로 잠베 바이제 오레 다 우드네지로 어디 산르다
So we've completed the teaching on the confession of downfalls. So now we need to do the dedication. So we'll do the dedication prayers as we normally would, and it's very good that we have done this. So we'll go through the prayers in the Tibetan transliteration as we do. And today, maybe no question and answer because it's already 12 o'clock. Idam Guru Ratna Mandala Gam Niratayami Yamel Babu Jita Jen Badang Gondu Sambo Deya Dejinde Deda Gunji Jesu Da Loji Gewa Deda Tanche Ratu Mo Duzom Shebe Jawa Tanche Ngawa gana chotu ngapade dajen gewe sawa de kunja sampo chichira tungoni gamri rawe gowe shinyane menane Manu Nenyo lo nu nye yong amum ba tse ga me go zon dong an dan yun zin da yu zun du nu zan da ru yin ge jing om bo yo rin yam den yo. Thank you.
그렇게 나왔어. 나오고 내년라던 컴바 쳐보도 쳐보.
Last night I had a dream of a very large house.
근데 컴바데 폴이 양 컴바에 내려져.
Ooh.
돌아간다분도 돌아가.
It was a
Then the
multi-level house similar to a
뭐 그런
temple.
자만나분도.
It was very clean,
근데 야대 도도.
and I was above in the higher
나
level.
내간대자.
I was above in the top.
근데 괜히나 때도 내 추게 되는 막 컴바 자마죠.
And he was washing it with water, washing it, everything with water. Genya, the broom, Genya is a
돌아가 tembo나분도.
similar to it, and it was with the the
추도.
chudu, washing it with water.
대til에 아버지 어때 아버지서 선다분도. 저거도
The drapa.
레슨. 나다우스. What big walk.
Oh, so someone at another house heard what was going on and acknowledged that this was very good. In
컴바
the
나로
dream.
맘도스.
In the Chirang Kamba Memandu,
근데 추저서 나로 맘도스.
there was no one in the house. Me Mambo Memandu.
No shimbe.
No one. There was no one in the house.
디바 다다 인사를 가리.
I think it's probably purification of misdeeds, or what is it?
이나 디바 다다 이제.
But it is certainly a sign of purification.
나주 디바 그거 다사 이제 쓰려.
Natsudipa.
동산지라를 용해서 디바
Because of,
다는.
we've come all together to this class. We've purified misdeeds, purified
다른 가서
non-virtues.
디바 치고 다요 가르스.
We've purified very large misdeeds.
엄마가 봤다고 그랬어.
Please make good aspirations
사실 내가 집어줘.
so that the Buddha's truth stays in the world.
저원 서로 다시 디바 치면 귀신이 녀지 지순세 봐주지.
May I, in this life and in future lives, meet with great vehicle, spiritual friends.
전제 다시 사주고 뭐또 줘주지.
May this become a cause for all sentient beings to achieve the state of unsurpassable true complete enlightenment. These three things are important, the request for the spread of the teachings. You've all listened very well. Thank you so much.
Yeah.